My husband spent my $250,000 savings on his sister, then handed me divorce papers, and the most terrifying part was not the number on the screen. It was how quiet the house was when I found out. My name is Claire Merritt, 34 years old, Austin, Texas, art teacher by day, freelance graphic designer by night, 15 years of brown bag lunches and skipped vacations and double shifts folded into one joint retirement account that I had trusted David to co-manage because 9 years of marriage felt like reason enough. That Tuesday morning, I opened the banking app the way I always did, coffee in one hand, phone in the other. The balance loaded, $42.18. I read it 3 times. I set my phone face down. I pressed both palms flat against the granite and stood there without moving for a long time. Then I picked it back up. David had marked the withdrawal as a family emergency. Every dollar gone in 3 transfers. And that was not even the part that stopped my breathing. David Merritt, 38, my husband of 9 years, came home that evening with 2 things, a rehearsed explanation and a manila envelope. He set the envelope on the kitchen table first, then he started talking. He said Mia Merritt, 35, his younger sister, was not just starting a business. She was a crypto-backed real estate developer with a passive income model that would give us both early retirement within 18 months. Guaranteed returns, ground floor opportunity. Family first. He said he had moved every dollar of my savings to fund it. He said this the way someone announces a surprise vacation, bright, certain, already decided. I asked why he had not told me. He straightened, looked at me with practiced patience, the look of a man who had rehearsed this part carefully. It was my duty as a brother. You're so greedy, Claire. Mia needed a win, and honestly, you wouldn't even know what to do with that much anyway. He slid the divorce papers across the table. I said nothing. I picked up my coffee. That was the plan. I did not cry that night. I made tea. I sat at the kitchen table, and I read every document David had left behind because David had never been a careful reader, and careless people always leave doors open. He had signed 17 pages to fund Mia's business through a holding company called Solera Ventures LLC. I read all 17. Page 9, paragraph 4, 6 lines from the bottom, a clause so standard that most people skip it, so consequential that no one should. Personal guarantee, his full legal name, his signature in blue ink slightly rushed the way he always signed things he had not finished reading. I read the clause 3 times. I set the document down. Then I called Ruth Abernathy, 62, my former accounting professor from the University of Texas, now a quiet, independent financial consultant who had seen every kind of financial mistake a person could make. I explained what I had found. She listened without interrupting. Then she said 5 sentences that changed everything. Then she hung up. Ruth's 5 sentences were not comfort, they were a map. She told me what the personal guarantee meant, what Solera Ventures LLC was actually structured around, what happened to a guarantor when a holding company defaulted, and what a person with the right timing and the right resources could quietly do about it. She said, "You know what to do," then she was gone. The next morning, James Acaffer, 45, my school principal and 8-year colleague, sent me an email at 7:04 a.m. Subject line, "Thought this might interest you." Inside was a single link to an Austin community investment group, small, private, focused on distressed commercial property acquisitions. James never mentioned it again, not once. I attended the first meeting on a Thursday evening with a legal pad, a pen, and Ruth's 5 sentences written across the top of the first page. When the meeting coordinator pulled up the available acquisition targets, I saw Solera Ventures LLC on the list. Third from the top, I circled it. I didn't need to write anything else. While I was reading documents, Mia was posting photographs. I want you to understand what I mean when I say that. I do not mean a few vacation pictures. I mean 43 posts across 4 months, Maldives sunsets, business class upgrades, designer bags lined up on hotel beds like a catalog shoot, spa equipment that was supposedly en route to Austin photographed instead as a backdrop in a Bali resort. The luxury crypto-backed real estate venture that had consumed my entire retirement fund, 15 years of 5 a.m. freelance deadlines, and packed lunches and 1 vacation in 9 years, existed only as a set of Instagram aesthetics and 0 building permits. I cross-referenced everything against the Solera Ventures LLC filing dates. No licenses, no lease, no employees, no equipment delivered, 1 bank account opened and emptied within 4 months. Meanwhile, I had been quietly purchasing shares in the holding company behind the property David had personally guaranteed, at a price no one else was paying attention to. If this story is making your blood run quiet the way mine did, stay with me. Subscribe, because the next part is where the ground starts shifting under their feet. The bank called David on a Tuesday, 6 months and 11 days after he had slid divorce papers across our kitchen table, and told me I wouldn't even know what to do with that much anyway. Mia's venture had not simply failed. It had dissolved, no assets, no inventory, no recoverable investment, no forwarding address on the LLC registration. The 43 Instagram posts were still live. The account balance was $0. David and Mia's high-end Austin apartment, the one they had rented to celebrate becoming millionaires, had 3 months of unpaid rent. And the bank, which had extended a commercial line of credit to Solara Ventures LLC based on David's personal guarantee and the shared house he had put up as collateral, was now calling in every dollar. David's name. David's signature, David's problem. What David did not know, what neither of them had thought to check in 6 months of Maldives photographs and borrowed confidence, was that the holding company behind that property had a new majority shareholder. The paperwork had cleared 4 weeks ago. Quietly, completely, already done. He knocked on a Saturday morning. I had been expecting it for 6 months, not because I am psychic, but because I had watched the timeline the way you watch weather when you already know the storm is coming. Right on time. I opened the door and there was David, 38 years old, the man who had called me greedy for wanting to keep what I had built, standing on my front step in the same worn gray hoodie I had washed approximately 200 times during our marriage. He looked smaller than I remembered, not physically, something else, the particular smallness of a person whose confidence was always borrowed and has finally been returned. Donna Merritt, 64, David and Mia's mother, was standing 1 step behind him. She caught my eye over his shoulder. She gave me one small nod, the nod of a woman who had kept every document she had ever seen in that family and was prepared to say so. David opened his mouth. I already knew every word he was going to say. He said it exactly the way I expected. Claire, Mia betrayed me. She took everything, the money, the apartment. She's gone. I have nowhere to go. Please. Help me save the house. He said Mia like the name tasted like something he could not get out of his mouth. He said please like a man who had forgotten. He was speaking to someone he had called greedy 7 months ago for wanting to keep her own money. I let him finish. I let the silence sit for exactly 4 seconds, the same 4 seconds I had given myself standing at the kitchen counter with $42.18 on the screen. Then I looked at him and I said calmly, without any heat at all, "Family comes first, David, that's what you told me, so why don't you go sleep on Mia's new designer bags? I'm sure they're very comfortable." His mouth opened. Nothing came out. Behind him, Donna put her hand over her mouth, not from shock. I think she had been waiting 7 months to hear someone say that out loud. I let him stand there for 3 seconds. Then I stepped back from the door, walked to the kitchen table and picked up the folder I had placed there that morning, because I had known to within 48 hours exactly when this conversation would happen. I pulled out 1 page. 1 document, my name at the top, clean and stamped and already filed with the county. The house David had put up as collateral, the shared house he had signed away without telling me, had gone to auction when Solara Ventures LLC defaulted. I had been first in line, the debt was his, the asset was mine. He understood everything in 4 seconds. I watched it move across his face, the math, the timeline, the realization of exactly how long I had known. "You can't do this," he said. "I just did," I said. He did not know yet what I planned to do with the space. He found out 3 weeks later when the sign went up on the front window, Claire Merritt Art Studio, grand opening. Behind him, Donna pressed her folder quietly to her chest and smiled for the first time all morning. David left without another word. Donna stayed for 20 minutes, set her folder of documents on my table, 9 years of financial records she had kept in silence, squeezed my hand once and walked out. I did not feel triumphant standing there. I felt something quieter and more permanent than that. I had built $250,000 on 15 years of discipline, and he had spent it in 4 months on borrowed dreams. But the one thing he never counted on was this: I kept reading after he stopped. I kept building after he left. I kept going after he was certain I had nothing left to go with. I used to think patience was something you practiced while you waited. Now I know patience is what you build with while everyone else is distracted. If this story found you in Austin, in Atlanta, in a kitchen somewhere at 6 a.m. staring at a number that should not be there, subscribe and stay, because quiet women with patient plans always have more to say. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from, and has someone ever underestimated your silence so completely that they handed you the very thing they were trying to keep? He called me greedy for saving my own money. I called it mine because it always was.